Hi everyone, this is Sarah, your healthy eating tutor. Hope you're all doing really well and keeping healthy during this tough time of quarantine. Hopefully not more long to go, maybe another couple of weeks, I'm not too sure, but hopefully everybody keeps healthy. So like I mentioned in the last video, this week I'm going to be showing you some healthy tips of how to have suhoor and iftar. Now if you're not a Muslim and you don't fast during the month of Ramadan and you don't know what it's about, let me just tell you, it's Ramadan is a month of 30 days where Muslims fast from sunrise to sunset. So we wake up in the middle of the night just before sunrise and we have a breakfast. Some people call it suhoor, some people call it sehri, some people call it midnight feast, whatever you like. So we have a breakfast there then, and then we fast throughout the day, and then we eat, we break our fast and eat at sunset. So it's around about an 18 hours fast. It sounds quite long, but it's actually quite this. I don't know. It's something that's helping us get through the lockdown, I guess. Something to look forward to. So, yeah, it's going quite well so far. But in order to have a healthy diet, it's important to have a well-maintained mixture of fruits and fibers when you have your suhoor and when you have your iftar. To have a balanced diet, it's important you are kind of careful what you eat. There's lots of jokes about the Asian culture, well, the Muslim culture, that, you know, when we break our fast we eat fried food, and then, you know, in the evening prayer everyone's farting, you know, everyone's full of gas and bloated. So I'm going to give you some tips and show you a few recipes. Hopefully it'll give you some ideas. I'm pretty sure most of you have some good ideas anyway, but this will just expand like your imagination of the kind of things that you can make and cook. And you don't need to follow a particular recipe, but just watching a different kind of recipe or someone else's perspective towards to the way they cook will just give you some ideas of what you can possibly make. Yeah, so I'm going to give you some ideas. Some will be suhoor ideas, some will be iftar ideas, and you can take them back and you can play around with the ingredients and play around with the methods, but it will just give you something to think about and some ingredients to play around with, hopefully. Yep, so we're going to get cracking and I'm going to head to the kitchen and show you a few recipes, and I hope you enjoy them, and I'll talk you through along with them, and yeah, maybe we can discuss them after you watch this video. Alright guys, see you in a bit. Right, so first of all we're going to start off with some suhoor ideas. Now suhoor, like I mentioned before, is the early breakfast that we have at sunrise. Right, so we have to make sure we pack our suhoor with lots of fiber, because throughout the day we need slow energy releasing foods that will help us keep that energy locked into our system, into our body. But also we need to have that fiber as well, which is really important. But sometimes people forget that the last thing you want to do is break your fast and feel all bloated and constipated. So if you pack your breakfast with, you know, a good fiber packed meal, that way you're not going to have any problems as soon as you break your fast. Right, so I've got a variety of fruits here. You can have any, you can use whatever recipes I'm going to show you right now. You can play around with the recipes with any kind of alternative fruits or vegetables, or, you know, substitutes of ingredients that you have at home. It's just to get the basic kind of idea of what to put with what and what goes well with what. So these are some of the fruits I have. I'm going to make one or two recipes with the fruits just to show you, just give you some ideas, and then you'll know what to do next. Right, so I've got pineapple, apples, oranges, kiwi, avocado, and banana, and some berries here. I'm going to put all of this on the side, and for now I'm just going to concentrate on the avocado. Avocado is a very good natural fat. Very good for cholesterol, very good for heart, diabetes, sugar, and as you all know, I love beetroot, and here's another squashed, squeezed and grated beetroot, and I've got the juice out of it. I haven't squeezed the juice out of it, I've literally just grated the beetroot and blended it. So this is the whole thing as it is. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to be making a smoothie out of this. I'm going to put the avocado and the beetroot in my blender, and I'm going to show you what it looks like when it comes out. Right, here we go. I just put this in the blender for 30 seconds. And I want to show you how it comes out. Now, oh, sorry about that. Now, as you can see, the avocado, it acts like thickening agent in this mixture, and this is going to be like a smoothie, but because avocado is quite thick, it's going to be a smoothie bowl, so almost like a yogurt kind of consistency. And we're going to have this for our breakfast in the form of like a yogurt, like a cereal bowl. So you basically just pour this out in a bowl, and you can top this up with any kind of fruits or vegetables you like, anything. So just imagine that you're having like a bowl of porridge, but instead you're making a smoothie bowl instead. And this is going to be made not from yogurt, not from cream, not from oats, but just simply from avocado and beetroot. The beetroot gives it a very nice flavor, texture, sweetness. Avocado gives it thickness. If you don't have avocado, you can use a banana for the thickness. You can use anything. And then to top this up, you can put anything you like on the side. I'm going to put some seeds, some mixed seeds, and that's just gonna, and some nuts, and that's gonna complete my meal for suhoor. Look how beautiful, pretty that looks. Anything that you do make that it's going to be new for you, it's really important to make it appealing to the eye. So, and I'll top it off with some berries as well. There we go. And that's just packed with fruit, fibre, texture, taste, and it's going to be very, very good for you. So that's one of the fruit recipes that you could try for suhoor. Another one I'll show you. Right, the next recipe, or should I say the next idea that I'm going to give you, is a fruit trifle. So usually you have fruit trifles for desserts, or like, you know, a midnight kind of thing to indulge on. But this fruit trifle is like a healthy version, and I think this is really, really good to have for suhoor, because in here you've got a mixture of fruits and other things as well, which I'll show you. But first of all, get a fancy glass. I've just got one of my crystal glasses. It just looks pretty, and you know, you want to make yourself feel happy when you're eating something like this. Right, so, and you get a mixture of fruits. Again, you know, any kind of fruits you like, any fruits you desire. So I've got some blueberries, and I'm going to put some strawberry. It's best to use the fruits that are in season, because they have less time on the field and more time on the plate, which means less chemicals, and yeah, so they're much more good for you. And then we've got some banana in here as well. I'm not even mixing anything, I'm just putting it straight into the bowl. And then I think we will do some apple. I'm going to get some, because I've already got some sweet fruits in here, I'm going to get some green apples to give it a bit of sour. Right. So you can finely chop them, or you can cut them into thick pieces, entirely up to you. And again, if you want to eat the fruits as a whole, you can eat them as a whole, but this just gives you an idea to eat everything, sorry about that, into a, you know, a mixture where everything is kind of, I've got the kids at home, sorry about that. Right, so you've got the blueberries, strawberries and apple in there. Now, in a typical trifle, you have fruit, jelly, cake, and then cream. In this trifle, we're going to skip the jelly. If you want to put jelly, it's completely optional. There's no harm in having a little bit of sweet in it. Now for the cake, I had some leftover cake that I made a couple of days ago, completely fine. And I'm just going to crush this up. I'm going to put small pieces of here. If you don't have any cake, you can use some biscuits, any kind of biscuits that you think that you're going to enjoy, you're going to like in your trifle. And some small pieces. And then I am going to top this up, not with cream, but with some fresh Greek yogurt. Oh, that looks so good. Look at that. Now, if I wasn't to tell you, would you be able to tell the difference between this cream, this yogurt and cream? Right, there we go. And then you can have it as it is, or you can drizzle a little bit of honey. So I've got some honey, and I'm just going to drizzle a little bit of honey, and there you go. There is your healthy trifle. I'll show you the layers. Can you see? Oh, let's see. Can you see the layers of your fruit, cake, and then your yogurt. Now usually I taste everything and give you a little bit of a sound effects of how it tastes, but obviously because I'm fasting I can't right now, but I can tell you that I've been having this for suhoor. Actually you can have it for iftar as well, and it's so delicious, it's so refreshing and so tasty. So this is another kind of recipe that you can have for your suhoor. And like I said and mentioned before as well, if you're not fasting, if you're not a Muslim and you're not going through Ramadan, you can just use this as a recipe to have for a normal breakfast. It's just such a good idea. And you're probably thinking, oh, we're probably not going to get the time to make this in the morning because you've got to rush to work, rush to school. Make it a day before, a night before, like you would do with your porridge. You'll set them in a jar and soak them in milk or water. Make this beforehand, and if you make it a night before, it actually tastes so much more nicer in the morning. So for suhoor you can make it before you go to sleep, or just after iftar, and by suhoor it'll be nice, and the yogurt will be nicely soaked into the cake and become very nice and moist. So that's another one. Right, another recipe idea for suhoor is a omelette wrap. So omelette is usually something that you would have for breakfast or on the weekends, but this is a really good thing to have for suhoor because it's packed with protein. So if you're a vegetarian or you're trying to go for a vegetarian option for suhoor, this is a really good option. So in the usual omelette you'll probably put onions, tomatoes, chilies and coriander. So this is what I'm going to put in this one. I'm just going to have the addition of carrots. You can add any other vegetables you like as well, courgettes, aubergines. I've done all of them before. They taste so good. Any other vegetables? Spinach is a really good one. I couldn't seem to find any spinach. It was out of stock in Tesco's today. So right, let's start chopping up very, very finely. So we've got a tomato here. In fact, you know what, I'm going to get my gadget out. So you just cut the onion. These are all washed. I think we'll do with half the onion right now. Okay. Let me just get my secret gadget out that you all have been messaging me about. Right, so we're just going to pop in this onion in there. And the other one as well. This only works better the more you have in here, because everything you mix is kind of aid each other. There we go. Voila, magic. So we're going to put this in our bowl. Right, just half an onion. And then we're going to add in the tomatoes. I'm going to make these tomatoes not too thin, not too small, just medium size. And this is a juicy tomato, so I'm going to have to be careful how I cut this one. Right, that's going to go in there as well. Right, so in the bowl here we have some coriander, some tomatoes, some red chilies, some red onions, and then they should be called purple onions actually, and then we're going to add in some carrots. And carrots will just give it a really, really nice crunch, a really nice bite. Right. Right, I've got that. Now we'll add in the carrots. Give this all a good mix, like so. Some of the tomatoes are a little bit big, and then we're going to add in 2 eggs. Whisk the eggs before you put them in. Add them in. And give this all a good mix. If you can hear that noise bubbling behind me, it's some potatoes that I've got boiling for one of our next recipes, for the iftar recipes. Right. And then we're just going to add some seasoning in here, some salt and pepper. You can add the seasoning according to your taste. There we go, some pepper and some salt. Right, I'm going to take this to the pan, and I'm pretty sure all of you know how to make an omelette. It's very, very simple, very easy, but I'll just show you mine anyway. Okay, so our omelette is now nicely done. I flipped it over on both sides and cooked it on both sides. Now, if you're not a vegetarian, you can add some meat in here if you like, but yeah, I prefer it meat-free. Now, what I'm going to do is, just to complete this, I'm going to add some rocket leaves on here. You can add anything, lettuce, spinach, anything you like. You can even sprinkle some cheese. Feta cheese goes really nice with an omelette. And then I'm going to flip this over like that, and there we go. There's our suhoor ready, a really tasty omelette with some rocket leaves. So that's another recipe you could try for suhoor, and I hope you enjoy that. And now I'm going to give you some iftar ideas, and hopefully you can get some ideas from there as well and play around with them. Right, now before I go on to showing you the iftar treats, I just want to show you some of the milky kind of drinks that we have, or we can have, for our iftar. So let me just remind you, iftar is when we open our fast, so at sunset. Right, the typical kind of drinks would be something called ruafza, which is a rose syrup with milk, but that's got a lot of sugar in it. So I'm going to show you something new. I'm just going to grab... Right, so as you can see here, I've got some freshly chopped pineapples, and can you guess what I'm going to make? Right, so I'm going to be making a pina colada, a non-alcoholic pina colada that only contains 2 ingredients, or 3. So first of all, you have fresh pineapple, and then you have coconut milk. This is like a Caribbean style drink that's really, really famous in hot countries. But right now pineapple's in season, and so it's really, really sweet. I can just tell by looking at it, it's going to be really, really sweet. If you don't want to use pineapple, you can use mango, you can use kiwi. There was another fruit that came to my mind. You can use papaya. Oh yes, you can use lychees, tin lychees. If you want to use pineapple but you don't have fresh pineapple, you can even use tin pineapple. So very simple way of making this. We're going to get you need a blender for this. And I'm assuming that most people do have a blender, so I'm just going to pop in the blade in here. First of all, always put the liquid in first. So for a typical pina colada, you require the cream of coconut milk, so that's like the top layer, the thickness of coconut milk. But because I don't want just to have the coconut milk, because you'll have to put some kind of other milk in it as well, I'm going to put the whole tin. And that way I won't need to include any sugar, because this will have all the natural sweetness from this coconut milk. Right, so we pop in all the coconut milk in there, and then I'm going to put in the fresh pineapples. Again, this is my take on a pina colada. Your pina colada could be different, or the ones that you've tasted or seen are different, slightly different. And usually people put frozen pineapples. The reason why I'm not putting frozen pineapples is because the fresh pineapples have a very high content of water in them, and they're much more sweeter, They're not frozen, so they're quite fresh. They're very fresh. And if you are going to use frozen pineapple, you would have to put extra pineapple juice in order to make this a liquidy form. But by putting pineapple juice, you're adding extra sweetness, extra sugars. And this, why would you want to put frozen pineapple when you have fresh? Right, so I'm going to pop the lid on. And this is just going to whiz for about 2 minutes, or 1 minute. Right, okay, we are back. And our pina colada is done. And it's a little bit on the thicker side, but that's why it's quite filling. And you know, as soon as you break your fast, after you have your date, you have this really delicious smoothie texture type drink. And it's full of fiber, full of protein with the coconut, and it's got natural sugars in it. And I'm just going to sprinkle this with a little bit of chia seeds. And this is just going to make it extra boosting. The first thing that's going to go inside me is just going to be extra boosting, and you know, will help detox my system. So there's our pina colada done. Can you see how gorgeous it looks? I don't have any ice cubes right now, but if you have ice cubes, it's best to put ice cubes in the blender, and it just helps crush everything and gives it such a nice cool breeze. Right, so the next drink we're going to make is going to be a date milkshake. It's very, very simple. You don't really need anything for this. I'm just going to use 3 dates, which I'm just going to take out the seeds. Mind my sticky hands. Right. And then I'm going to add the rest of these chia seeds. The chia seeds are going to actually act like a natural glue. Radio. So we have the chia seeds and the dates in here, and now I'm just going to add in some milk. Just enough for 1 cup. I'm just making a small amount. And again, I'm going to give this a whiz. And this is done. And again, this is going to be on the lighter side, a bit lumpy, because we want to taste, you want to taste the dates. You can see how beautiful that looks. And if you was to set this in the fridge for about half an hour, you'll see that the chia seeds will start acting as a gelling agent, and it will help thicken up the milkshake. So here we have 2 milkshakes. Of course, milk-based, 1 fresh cow's milk and 1 coconut milk. We have a pina colada and a date milkshake. So I hope you enjoyed that. And now I'm going to show you some of the iftar